Are women sinful for not knowing the fiqh of menstruation related to their situation? Yes, they would be. So it's obligatory. Like it's you can't just say I'm a believer and then just sit there and, without knowing your obligations to God. So likewise, a man would be. There are certain rulings a man also needs to know about menstruation. Otherwise, he could, they could end up sinning. Right. For example, as you know, it's impermissible for a husband to be intimate with his wife whilst she's menstruating. But there's a time, for example, there's something she has called a menstrual habit, her regular habit, and the time and the place, the number of days and whereabouts in the month it usually happens. So sometimes, the menstruation might seem like it stopped. Her habit is usually 7 days, for example, but it stops after 4. What about those 3 days? Well, they can't be intimate until that seventh day passes, because the chance of the blood returning is, very likely, very high, because that's her normal habit. So they need to know this ruling. So it's useful for for the husband to know these things. But for a lady, it's personally obligatory, just like it's obligatory on everyone to know the rulings on wudu, and how to perform a ghusl, and how to remove impurities. And just like we need to know, Allah exists, the negating attributes that negate all sorts of the various blemishes and defects from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In belief, for example, we need to know that the prophets all spoke the truth. None of them ever committed a sin. They were trustworthy. They were all intelligent, and they all delivered the message. So there are aspects of the deen that we must know, and not knowing them is a deficiency in a person until they learn it. So it's very important. Some people, if you want your deen and your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to flourish, the bare minimum, what they call al-fardul aini, you could say, or fardul ain, has to be there. So a person has to know this knowledge. So if you have to spend money to learn it, do so. It'll be sadaqah on yourself. And if you clearly have to spend some time learning it, and learning it well, do so. Right, make it a priority in life, and you'll only benefit. Knowledge of fiqh and knowledge of the deen in general, but fiqh particularly, it empowers a person. When you have sufficient knowledge, people walk around not knowing what to do in the various situations that occur in life, and there's someone who has that knowledge. Is not like that. One of my closest friends, a very righteous brother, and he spent his time, in his, teens and 20s, and learning the deen. And he rarely asks me questions. And then you see people, people ask questions in general, right? But he rarely asks me these kind of questions. Why? Because he studied it, and he's been doing it and applying it all his life, so he knows it well. So yeah, make it a priority, because it's the means through which you draw closer to Allah, through which you obey Allah. Okay, may Allah facilitate it.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله